Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the story you keep telling yourself? Most people are not lacking intelligence. Most people are not lacking opportunity. Most people are lacking certainty. And certainty is not something you find, it is something you build. What if the greatest asset you could ever invest in is not the stock market, real estate, or even a business, but yourself? In economics, the concept of human capital explains that the knowledge, skills, experience, and abilities you develop directly determine your productivity and earning potential. Every skill you learn functions like an appreciating asset, and every piece of knowledge compounds in value over time. Unlike physical capital, which can depreciate, human capital can continuously expand if it is intentionally developed. The modern economy is no longer driven only by labor, it is driven by specialized expertise, adaptability, and innovation. This means the individuals who consistently invest in learning position themselves to capture the highest value opportunities. Consider how rapidly industries are changing. Automation, digital transformation, and global competition are constantly reshaping job markets. The question is not whether change will happen, but whether you are prepared for it. Those who treat education as a one-time event often find their skills becoming obsolete, while those who treat learning as a lifelong investment increase their economic resilience. Every course completed, every practical skill mastered, and every problem-solving ability strengthened increases your market value. Employers and markets reward individuals who can create solutions, improve efficiency, and generate measurable results. This is why strategic learning, focused on high-demand skills, creates a competitive advantage. Think about the economic principle of return on investment. When you invest in financial assets, you expect growth over time. But the same principle applies to personal development. Learning communication, leadership, financial literacy, and analytical thinking produces returns through better career opportunities, higher income potential, and stronger decision-making ability. The most successful professionals understand that income growth is rarely accidental. It is the outcome of skill growth. Here's a powerful insight. The marketplace does not pay you for effort alone. It pays you for value. Increasing your value requires consistent learning and skill expansion. Now imagine two individuals entering the same industry. One chooses comfort and routine, while the other chooses continuous improvement. Over 5 years, the difference becomes dramatic. The second individual builds expertise, adapts to trends, and develops strategic thinking, making them far more economically valuable. This gap illustrates how human capital compounds just like financial capital. Small improvements made daily eventually create exponential career advantages. The real question becomes, are you investing daily, or are you remaining economically stagnant? Another critical dimension of human capital investment is adaptability. Economic conditions fluctuate, technologies evolve, and industries transform. Individuals who build diverse and transferable skills reduce their exposure to economic risk. Skills such as problem-solving, creativity, and digital literacy remain relevant across multiple sectors, providing stability even during market uncertainty. This adaptability increases bargaining power in the labor market and creates opportunities for entrepreneurship. Here is a powerful hook to consider. Success rarely arrives through dramatic overnight changes. It emerges through disciplined daily progress. Many individuals underestimate the long-term impact of small habits because the immediate results appear minimal. However, economics teaches that delayed outcomes often produce the greatest rewards. When consistent effort meets time, exponential progress becomes inevitable. This explains why individuals who remain committed to incremental improvement outperform those who rely on short bursts of motivation. The compounding effect is also closely connected to productivity and efficiency. Small improvements in workflow, time management, and decision-making accumulate into substantial performance advantages. For example, improving focus by just 1 additional hour per day can translate into hundreds of extra productive hours annually. Over several years, this creates a significant competitive edge in knowledge, experience, and output quality. Markets naturally reward individuals and organizations that operate with higher efficiency because they produce greater value. Another critical dimension of compounding appears in financial discipline. Regular saving and reinvestment demonstrate how consistent behavior transforms long-term economic stability. Even modest contributions, when maintained over extended periods, can grow into substantial capital due to compounded returns. This principle reinforces an important behavioral insight. Consistency matters more than intensity. Large but irregular efforts rarely outperform smaller but consistent actions. There is also a psychological advantage connected to compounding. Small wins strengthen confidence, and confidence increases action. Increased action generates better results, which then reinforce motivation. This creates a positive behavioral cycle where progress fuels further progress. The most effective professionals intentionally design habits that compound over time, understanding that disciplined routines gradually transform performance levels. Another engaging perspective is to view compounding as a strategic patience model. In modern, fast-paced environments, individuals often expect immediate results, but economic growth patterns demonstrate that meaningful outcomes require sustained commitment. The early stages of compounding may appear slow or even invisible, which is why many people stop too soon. Yet those who remain consistent reach the stage where growth accelerates dramatically. Think about this hook. Every day, you either benefit from compounding or fall behind because of it. Skills compound, knowledge compounds, financial decisions compound, even small daily distractions compound into lost productivity over time. The direction of compounding depends entirely on repeated choices. Each action acts like a micro-investment shaping future outcomes, quietly building either advantage or limitation through the mathematics of consistency. What if waiting for certainty is the very reason many individuals never achieve economic growth or professional success? In economics, decision-making under uncertainty is a fundamental concept because markets, investments, and opportunities are never fully predictable. Every economic environment contains risk, volatility, and incomplete information. Yet the individuals and organizations that consistently progress are those who develop the ability to make calculated decisions despite uncertainty rather than waiting for perfect conditions that never arrive. Uncertainty exists in every major financial and career decision. Market prices fluctuate, industries evolve, and technological disruptions continuously reshape demand for skills and services. Because of this, economic success is rarely about avoiding risk entirely. It is about managing risk intelligently. One of the most powerful hooks to understand is this: uncertainty does not eliminate opportunity, it creates it. When conditions are unclear, many individuals hesitate. But strategic decision makers analyze probabilities, gather relevant information, and act with structured confidence. The concept of expected value plays a major role in economic decision-making. Instead of focusing only on guaranteed outcomes, professionals evaluate the potential rewards relative to the possible risks. This approach shifts thinking from fear-based hesitation to probability-based strategy. For example, entrepreneurs often launch businesses without complete certainty about market response, yet they rely on research, data patterns, and calculated projections to guide their actions. This demonstrates that progress is driven not by certainty, but by informed risk-taking. Another critical factor influencing decisions under uncertainty is adaptability. Economic environments are dynamic, meaning that even well-planned strategies may require adjustment over time. High-performing individuals understand that flexibility is an advantage, not a weakness. They monitor feedback, analyze outcomes, and refine their approach when necessary. This continuous adjustment process reduces long-term risk while increasing the probability of success. A strong hook emerges here. Action creates clarity. Many people wait for clarity before acting, but in reality, clarity often appears only after action begins. Behavioral economics also explains why uncertainty feels uncomfortable. Humans naturally prefer predictable outcomes, even when uncertain opportunities offer greater rewards. This tendency, known as risk aversion, can limit economic growth if not balanced with strategic thinking. Professionals who overcome excessive risk aversion develop a competitive advantage because they recognize that controlled uncertainty often leads to innovation and expansion. The global economy itself evolves through individuals willing to explore new solutions, technologies, and markets. Decision speed also plays an important role. In fast-changing environments, delayed decisions can carry significant opportunity costs. Waiting too long may result in missed investments, lost market entry timing, or reduced competitive positioning. Effective decision makers focus on gathering sufficient, not perfect information before acting. This principle reflects another engaging hook. Progress favors movement, not perfection. Small, well-informed steps reduce uncertainty over time and create momentum toward larger outcomes. There is also a strong connection between confidence and decision-making quality. Confidence does not eliminate uncertainty, but it improves the ability to act within it. Professionals build confidence through preparation, knowledge acquisition, and experience. Each decision made under uncertainty strengthens analytical judgment and improves future performance. Over time, this creates a cycle where experience reduces emotional hesitation while increasing strategic clarity. Economic growth at both personal and organizational levels depends heavily on the willingness to act when outcomes are not guaranteed. Markets reward those who analyze risk, adapt quickly, and remain proactive rather than reactive. Every major advancement in business, finance, and innovation began with a decision made without complete certainty, reinforcing the idea that uncertainty is not a barrier to success, but a permanent condition of progress. What if the difference between financial progress and financial stagnation is not the amount of resources you have, but how effectively you use them? In economics, resource allocation is a central principle that explains how individuals and organizations distribute limited resources, such as time, capital, skills, and opportunities, to achieve maximum output and value. Since resources are always scarce, the efficiency with which they are allocated determines productivity, growth, and long-term sustainability. This principle applies not only to large economies and corporations, but also to personal development and careers. Every individual operates within resource constraints. Time is limited, financial capital may be restricted, and opportunities are often competitive. However, high-performing professionals understand that strategic allocation transforms limitations into leverage. One powerful hook to consider is this. Successful people are not defined by having more resources, but by extracting more value from the resources they already possess. This perspective shifts focus from external limitations to internal optimization. Time allocation is one of the most critical aspects of economic efficiency. Each day presents a fixed number of hours, making time the most equally distributed, yet most unevenly utilized resource. Individuals who prioritize high-value activities, such as skill development, strategic planning, and productive execution, consistently outperform those who spend excessive time on low-impact tasks. From an economic standpoint, time invested in high-return activities increases future income potential and professional growth. Financial resource allocation also plays a major role in long-term stability. Rather than focusing only on earning, economically aware individuals focus on how income is distributed across spending, saving, and investing, allocating financial resources toward assets that appreciate or generate returns strengthens economic security over time. This creates a structural advantage where capital begins to work alongside effort. A compelling hook emerges here. Income creates opportunity, but allocation creates wealth. Another important dimension of resource allocation involves knowledge and skill utilization. Many individuals possess valuable abilities, but fail to apply them strategically. Economic productivity increases when skills are directed toward areas with high demand and measurable value creation. This requires awareness of market trends, industry shifts, and technological developments. When individuals align their skills with emerging opportunities, they increase both employability and income potential. Opportunity allocation is equally significant. Not every opportunity delivers the same economic value, and selecting the right opportunities requires analytical thinking. Professionals who evaluate potential outcomes, growth, and alignment with long-term goals make more efficient decisions. This reflects a deeper economic insight. Saying yes to one opportunity often means saying no to another. Strategic selection ensures that energy and effort are directed toward outcomes with the highest potential return. Behavioral discipline strengthens resource allocation effectiveness. Emotional spending, inconsistent time management, and reactive decision-making often reduce efficiency. In contrast, structured planning increases clarity and control. Individuals who track their time usage, financial flows, and productivity patterns gain measurable insights that improve future allocation strategies. Another engaging hook highlights this idea. What gets measured gets improved. Data-driven awareness transforms guesswork into strategy. Technological tools have also transformed modern resource allocation. Digital platforms allow professionals to automate routine tasks, analyze performance metrics, and optimize workflows. This increases output without requiring proportional increases in effort or cost. Efficiency gains generated through technology demonstrate how smart allocation enhances productivity in competitive environments. Economic growth at the personal level is rarely determined by a single major decision. Instead, it emerges from consistent allocation choices made daily. Every hour invested, every financial decision made, and every opportunity selected shapes long-term outcomes. Resource allocation therefore becomes a strategic framework for transforming limited inputs into expanding results through intentional and disciplined action. What if the real cost of an action is far greater than the risks you are trying to avoid? In economics, opportunity cost represents the value of the next best alternative that is sacrificed when a decision is made. Every choice carries a hidden cost because selecting one path automatically means rejecting another. While many people focus only on visible financial costs, the most significant opportunity costs often appear in time, experience, and long-term growth potential. Understanding this principle transforms decision-making from short-term comfort to long-term strategic thinking. Every day, individuals make decisions that shape their economic trajectory, often without recognizing the alternatives being lost. Choosing to delay skill development, postponing investments, or avoiding calculated risks may feel safe in the moment, yet each delay carries a compounding cost. A powerful hook emerges here. The greatest losses are not always the ones you can see. They are the opportunities you never take. Time, unlike money, cannot be recovered, which makes opportunity cost one of the most critical factors in personal and professional growth. Consider how opportunity cost applies to career development. When a professional remains in a low-growth environment without learning new skills, the immediate stability may appear beneficial. However, the long-term cost includes lost income potential, reduced expertise, and fewer advancement opportunities. Economic progress is strongly linked to skill relevance, and industries continuously evolve. The decision to remain static in a dynamic market carries an invisible but significant economic price. Financial decisions also demonstrate the impact of opportunity cost. Spending resources on short-term consumption instead of long-term investment reduces future wealth-building potential. Even small financial choices accumulate over time, creating either advantage or limitation depending on how resources are allocated. This introduces another compelling hook. Money spent today is not only gone, it also loses the opportunity to grow tomorrow. Understanding this perspective encourages more intentional financial behavior and long-term planning. Opportunity cost also affects productivity and time management. Each hour invested in low-value activities reduces the time available for high-impact actions, such as strategic learning, innovation, or business development. High-performing individuals regularly evaluate whether their daily actions align with their future goals. This awareness creates disciplined focus and reduces distractions that produce minimal long-term returns. Behavioral economics explains why many people underestimate opportunity cost. Immediate rewards often feel more satisfying than delayed benefits, leading to decisions driven by short-term comfort rather than strategic value. This tendency, often connected to instant gratification, can limit economic progress if not balanced with future-oriented thinking. Professionals who train themselves to evaluate both present satisfaction and future outcomes develop stronger decision-making frameworks. Another important dimension involves risk perception. Some individuals avoid opportunities because of uncertainty, yet failing to act also carries risk. Choosing not to invest, not to learn, or not to explore new markets creates a different type of risk. The risk of stagnation. An engaging hook reinforces this idea. Avoiding risk does not eliminate risk. It simply shifts it into the future. Strategic decision makers analyze both the risks of action and the risks of inaction before making choices. Opportunity cost awareness strengthens clarity because it forces individuals to evaluate trade-offs objectively. Instead of asking only what a decision costs today, economically aware thinkers ask what it may cost tomorrow. This shift encourages proactive behavior, long-term planning, and consistent improvement. Over time, repeated awareness of opportunity costs leads to more efficient use of time, capital, and effort, shaping stronger economic outcomes through deliberate and informed decisions. What if the biggest factor influencing your financial success is not the market, not the economy, and not even your income, but your behavior? Behavioral economics explains that financial outcomes are not shaped by logic alone. They are strongly influenced by psychological patterns, emotions, and cognitive biases. Traditional economic theory assumes that individuals make rational decisions, but real-world evidence shows that emotions such as fear, overconfidence, and instant gratification often guide choices more than data or strategy. This insight reshapes how we understand wealth creation, productivity, and long-term success. The work of Daniel Kahneman demonstrated that human decision-making is deeply affected by mental shortcuts and emotional reactions. People tend to avoid losses more strongly than they pursue gains, a concept known as loss aversion. This explains why many individuals hesitate to invest or pursue new opportunities, even when the potential rewards outweigh the risks. Here is a powerful hook to consider. The market does not only test your knowledge, it tests your emotional discipline. Those who manage their psychology effectively often outperform those who rely solely on technical understanding. Confidence plays a central role in behavioral economics. When individuals believe in their ability to learn, adapt, and improve, they are more likely to take constructive action. Action generates experience, and experience strengthens decision-making accuracy. Conversely, negative self-perception can reduce initiative and limit economic progress. This creates a psychological feedback loop where beliefs influence behavior, and behavior influences results. Over time, repeated patterns either strengthen growth or reinforce stagnation. Another important behavioral factor is delayed gratification. Many economic opportunities require patience, yet modern environments encourage immediate rewards, spending instead of saving, comfort instead of skill building, and entertainment instead of productivity are common examples. A strong hook emerges here. Short-term pleasure often competes with long-term prosperity. Individuals who develop the discipline to prioritize future value over immediate comfort create structural advantages in wealth accumulation and career growth. Focus is also a behavioral asset that directly impacts economic performance. In a highly distracted digital environment, the ability to concentrate on high-value tasks becomes increasingly rare, and so increasingly valuable. Behavioral economics suggests that attention itself functions as a limited resource. When attention is consistently directed toward learning, strategic planning, and productive execution, output quality improves significantly. This increased productivity often translates into greater professional opportunities and financial advancement. Social influence further shapes economic behavior. People frequently model their financial habits and career expectations based on their environment. If individuals are surrounded by risk-averse or financially undisciplined influences, their decisions often reflect similar patterns. However, exposure to growth-oriented environments encourages learning, investment, and innovation. Another engaging hook highlights this reality. Your environment silently programs your financial behavior. Strategic networking and exposure to high-performing communities can therefore improve both mindset and measurable outcomes. Emotional control remains one of the most valuable skills in behavioral economics. Market fluctuations, career challenges, and business uncertainties naturally trigger emotional responses, but reactive decision-making often leads to inconsistent results. Professionals who develop structured decision frameworks based on data, long-term planning, and objective analysis reduce emotional interference. Over time, disciplined behavior compounds into stronger financial stability and more predictable progress. Behavioral patterns are not fixed. They are adaptable through awareness and consistent practice. Each financial decision, productivity habit, and learning choice gradually reshapes cognitive tendencies. This creates a powerful insight. Economic success is not only built through external opportunities, but through internal alignment between mindset, discipline, and strategic action. So here's my challenge to you. Raise your standards. Stop negotiating with your excuses. Stop waiting for motivation. Motivation fades, but discipline builds freedom. Decide today that you will invest in yourself. Decide today that you will learn skills that increase your value. Decide today that you will take control of your financial future instead of leaving it to chance. Because the truth is simple and powerful, your life changes the moment you change your decisions. As we close, remember this message. You are not limited by your past. You are not defined by your current situation. You are only limited by the vision you refuse to believe in. The economy may shift, the world may change, but the power to grow, adapt, and succeed is already inside you. Take action today, not tomorrow, not someday. Today. Thank you. There is also a behavioral component that many overlook. Motivation may initiate learning, but discipline sustains it. High performers schedule learning like an economic priority rather than treating it as an optional activity. They understand that knowledge acquisition is not an expense but an investment with long-term returns. Each hour spent learning today has the potential to multiply income and opportunity tomorrow. The most important hook to remember is this. Your future income is closely connected to your current learning habits. Every skill you build today is quietly shaping the economic opportunities you will have next year. What if the smallest actions you take today are quietly determining the scale of your success tomorrow? In economics, the compounding effect is one of the most powerful forces influencing long-term growth. It describes how incremental gains, when consistently reinvested over time, generate exponential outcomes. While this principle is often associated with financial investments, its real impact extends far beyond money into productivity, skills, habits, and decision-making patterns. The concept is simple but transformative. Small improvements, repeated consistently, produce results that appear insignificant in the short term, but become extraordinary in the long term. Consider how compound growth works in financial markets. When an investment generates returns, and those returns are reinvested, future growth occurs not only on the original capital, but also on the accumulated gains. Over time, this creates an accelerating growth curve rather than a linear one. The same principle applies to personal and professional development. A person who improves their knowledge by a small percentage each day builds intellectual capital that strengthens future learning capacity. This creates a multiplier effect, where each new skill makes the next skill easier to acquire.